Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the session side of the stage here. We're so excited to have Don Song join us, the founder and CEO of Oasis Labs. Don, thank you for joining that panel and for coming here again to give us a session. And Don is a decorated scholar at Cal Berkeley and works closely with the IC3 of Cornell. Don, I always love to hear what you guys are up to at Oasis, so I'm going to let you take it away.
Great, thank you. Thanks all for having me. Okay, great. Thanks everyone for being here. Again, my name is Don Song. I'm a professor in computer science at UC Berkeley and also the CEO and founder at Oasis Labs. So today I'll talk about the Oasis Network platform that we have built. In particular, Oasis is the first privacy-enabled blockchain platform for open finance and the responsible data economy. So first, of course, DeFi is really hot today. It's on top of mind for everyone. But however, we are really at a very early stage for DeFi today. And in particular, we call it the first generation of DeFi. And this first generation of DeFi has a number of limitations and so on. So today it's mostly built for crypto enthusiasts and provides high rewards for mining traders. And it's completely public. And today, of course, as we all know, DeFi has caused really high gas fees on Ethereum. So it's very much limited by Ethereum's throughput today. So at Oasis Network, we are the first privacy-enabled scalable blockchain platform. And with this set of new capabilities, we can really, the Oasis Network aims to provide a number of new types of use cases that couldn't be done before. So the first one I wanted to talk about is how Oasis can actually help unlock value for DeFi today, addressing many of the challenges in DeFi today. In particular, first, given the scalability aspect of Oasis Network, we can provide much more scalable DeFi to help improve usability of DeFi. In particular, with the high transaction throughput, low transaction fees, and also a novel, unique parallel execution architecture, we can particularly enable high throughput complex transactions to take place on the platform. So that's the scalability side. Another important unique capabilities for the Oasis Network is privacy. It's secure computing and privacy protection aspects. And these privacy capabilities can significantly expand DeFi beyond today's early adopters and traders to take it even further to mainstream. And in particular, how privacy can help with improving DeFi today is one, it can help, for example, instead of just today's use case for over-collateralized lending, we can actually help with reputation and credit-based under-collateralization. And also with privacy, we can protect more sensitive information, whereas today the Ethereum-based DeFi lack confidentiality and privacy protection for a lot of the DeFi applications, and also for future financial products and services and so on. So talking about this private DeFi, let me just give you a few examples why private DeFi is important. So actually, I was just in a panel before this talk where we actually talked about one amazing thing today, actually, for today's DeFi, the DeFi context is that it has full transparency. So for example, on Ethereum, in the DeFi ecosystem, you can see everything. You can see all the financial instruments. You can see all the accounts and how the money gets transferred, from one contract to another and so on. And so it sounds like, of course, it's a great step forward from, for example, the traditional financial infrastructure and so on, where so much is just locked down. You don't actually get to see what's happening for a lot of the things. But on the other hand, actually, there's an interesting balance between this transparency and privacy, because when you have full transparency, also there are a lot of other issues that come up. So for example, this actually gives attackers a lot of opportunities to attack. Many of you may have heard about front running and back running. So these are all different types of attacks where attackers, by being able to see the kind of orders that the other users are making, other transactions that other users want to make, and then they can front run or back run to gain benefits on their own. And also, when we talk about once we take DeFi into mainstream, including, for example, trying to get institutions, the traditional institutions to use this type of service and infrastructure, then you really come to these sophisticated institutions where they have a lot of proprietary information that they want to protect. For example, for the for hedge fund, for various trading firms, like they do want to keep their trades very well protected, and not to mention other like users, they want to protect their sensitive financial information and so on. And hence, being able to protect confidentiality is also an important, a very important property to actually bring DeFi to the mainstream, to greater population. So then, when we talk about private DeFi to protect the sensitive information, then here are just different examples how private DeFi can help for different types of financial services, and also what type of information that private DeFi can help protect. And even like a year ago on the Oasis Network, we actually developed a private compound and a private Uniswap, where all the, for example, the trade information or the lending and borrowing information, a lot of the information actually is being protected. So we hope that this type of private DeFi can actually, again, bring DeFi to greater population, to the mainstream. So these are some of the examples that I mentioned for private compound, and also similarly, you can do private DAC pool and so on. So another aspect of how privacy can really help to grow DeFi, as I mentioned earlier, is instead of just staying in this regime where we just have over-collateralized loans, the under-collateralized loans actually has even bigger markets. But however, if you want to introduce under-collateralized loans, then you have to introduce something else, for example, credits, so that one can compute the potential risk of a loan and so on. So again, with the Oasis Network, with the secure computing and privacy protection, we can actually enable users to connect to various their data sources, including their financial history and other type of users' information. And then we can also have privacy preserving compute of certain risk model using the sensitive information all happening in the secure computing environment. And so this can then provide the risk score or the credit score, and then this information can be provided to various lending services to then be able to enable under-collateralized loans. So this is another example how privacy can really help grow the markets for DeFi and really reach to the mainstream. So again, DeFi is really exciting. One of the things it has taught us is crypto can really incentivize cooperation and coordination among participants, among independent participants, and also potentially mutually distrusted participants. So, but for this cooperation and coordination, and for this and also for this financial, for example, for this financial services and so on, whether it's centralized or decentralized, there's the lifeblood for this cooperation, which is data. So again, in finance and in actually most of today's applications, data is a lifeblood for all these applications, for all these systems. So this actually brings to Oasis the Oasis platform's unique advantages, how we can actually help handle this data better. So first, let me talk a little bit about Oasis Platform's unique advantage, and then show you how we can take these unique advantages to even take DeFi to the next level, to something even bigger than DeFi, to actually what we call data tokenization and monetization. So first, again, let me just take a minute to talk about Oasis Platform's unique advantage. As I mentioned already earlier, Oasis Platform is the first privacy-enabled blockchain platform, and also provides scalability and also versatility. So later on, I'll briefly talk about the architecture of Oasis in more detail, which shows that we have this new architecture called paradigm architecture that uniquely provides greater scalability and versatility as a next generation blockchain platform. So, right. So again, as I mentioned, Oasis Platform is the world's first scalable and privacy-enabled blockchain platform. And I've already talked about the first couple of applications in terms of enabling DeFi as scalable and private DeFi. So now I'm going to talk about a new application domain that Oasis Platform can uniquely enable, called data tokenization. And before I go into that, I also want to take the moment to just briefly mention that we actually just made the announcement today that Chainlink and Oasis we announced our partnership today, where actually Chainlink will help bring a lot of these real-world data to Oasis Network as an oracle. And this will also help us with some of the applications that I will talk about in a second. So now let me talk about the next truly new use case that Oasis Platform is the first to enable, which is data tokenization and creating data assets. So we are in a world where more and more data is created and more data is being collected all the time, and also in a fast-growing speed. So for example, 2.5 quintillion bytes of data is being generated every day, according to certain estimates. And also, the EU has actually did some analysis showing that 8% of EU's GDP will be from personalized data. And there's estimates also showing that globally, it's about $3 of a global data economy, and so showing that the data economy is really big. And also, if you look at just the numbers, again, the amount of data that's being created and collected every day is just astronomical, and is growing at a breakneck speed. So with the Oasis unique capability, what Oasis Network can do is to enable what we call a responsible data economy. And what does this really mean? It in particular means three things here that the Oasis Network can uniquely provide. So first, it's about tokenizing data and creating data assets as a new type of assets. And also, at the same time, it actually can help data to be utilized in a better, in a more privacy-preserving way and in a more responsible way. In particular, this means that it help give control to users and enable users to maintain control of their data and their rights to data. And also, the third thing, which is what the blockchain does really well, is to help create incentives for users to share their data, and for different entities to have their data to be utilized by others, but in a privacy-preserving way and in a controlled way. So first, what does tokenization of data mean? So again, at Oasis, with the Oasis platform, it's the first platform that combines secure computing and blockchain tightly integrated as a next generation blockchain platform. And what this enables is actually enables a new paradigm for what we call tokenized data. So in particular, blockchain allows for logging and enforcement of users' data rights and also the usage policies for how the data can be used. And the blockchain provides high integrity and auditability for these data rights and data use policies. And also because we combine secure computing with blockchain as well. With secure computing, it ensures that the data can be utilized, but when it's being computed, it remains private during compute, so that the data consumer, the entity that consumes the data, will not be able to just copy the raw data out of the secure computing environment, and the data usage will be compliant with the user's data use policy. So what we have here is that then we just created a new type, we call it a data capsule, that combines data and its policies. And this together creates a new type of asset that we call data assets. So that because the data assets now helps users to maintain control of their rights to data, and also their and also to control the data, and also at the same time to enable data to be utilized in a privacy-preserving way, and hence users can actually get benefits from their data. So with the data tokenization, then the Oasis Network can actually help unlock a new responsible data economy where individuals can maintain their data rights and earn proper value from their data assets. So now let me go through a few example use cases. So the first use case we call essentially data yield. So very similar to liquidity farming, liquidity yield. So here with on the Oasis Network, users with their data, they can actually do, instead of just staking your liquidity, what users can do here, you can do data staking. And as users stake their data, it can create these data assets with their policies and so on. And for someone who wants to use the data, and then this data could actually go into a pool that we call a data trust. And for someone who wants to use the data, they can actually then they can send in payments and so on, and then the data will be used again inside the secure computing environments, where, for example, if someone wants to train a machine learning model using the data, they can do that. They can, if they want to compute some statistics of the data and so on. So they can do that while still be able to protect the privacy of the data. And then also in this case, users can benefit, can earn rewards from the payments from the data requester and so on. And also in this case, the data trust itself can also create governance tokens that can actually provide incentivization to both users and the data consumers, and also help the different entities together to actually govern this data trust. So this is an entirely new way of having different parties coming together to utilize data in a privacy-preserving and responsible way. And also another use case that I want to mention is actually just this week, we just announced a partnership with the Binance, where utilizing the technologies from the Oasis Platform, we together, so we launched an alliance called the CryptoSafe. The goal of the CryptoSafe Alliance is to actually combine different exchanges together in this alliance, where together to fight, for example, crypto fraud. So as we know, crypto theft and attacks are on the rise, and oftentimes crypto exchanges need to be able to identify and ban bad actors, oftentimes in a very fast manner before too much damage is made. And in order to do this, it's beneficial for different exchanges to work together to exchange information, to identify bad actors more quickly, utilizing information exchange from each other. But of course, this information is very sensitive, and also different exchanges may not trust each other as well. And using the Oasis technology here, again, we provide this secure computing environment, and also in conjunction with the cryptographic methods, we provide defense in depth. And also with this decentralized platform, we can enable different entities, these different exchanges, to work together in a way to effectively identify and ban bad actors in a speedy fashion, but also at the same time, the different exchanges do not need to trust each other for example, for the information that will be shared or be used to do this computation. And we are really excited to be working with Binance together and in launching the alliance. And also the Oasis technology will be the infrastructure provider for this alliance. And we are excited to be working with other exchanges together in this alliance as well. And this is a great example also showing how they how this type of technology by combining privacy protection and also this decentralized blockchain technology together to enable new use cases. And another use case that I wanted to also just briefly mention, where in particular we help users to maintain control of their data and rights to data, is in the use case of genomic data. As we all know, genomic data is really sensitive. Users, since one cannot change their genomic data, then you cannot change your genes. So, and also there have been other like direct-to-consumer genomic companies that have cited slowdown of their business due to privacy concerns from their customers. So in partnership with another genomic company, we are in the process of actually launching products. One is launched, it will be the first time for users to become owners of their genomic data. And using our the Oasis technology, users can actually maintain control of their genomic data, and also at the same time, for example, they can give consent to a genomic company to run a genomic analysis on their data. But in this case, the genomic company won't be able to see the customers, the users' raw genomic data. The compute will happen during this secure execution environment, and hence the users can benefit from these utilities on their genomic data, but at the same time, still maintain control of their genomic data. So again, these are just a few examples of use cases that's being built on top of the Oasis platform for in these different segments. And overall, there are actually many different projects now are building towards this responsible data economy on the Oasis network. And so far I've talked about all these exciting novel use cases that the Oasis network technology can uniquely enable. So we only have a little bit of time left. And I wanted to just very quickly go through some of the technology under the hood so you can actually see what is actually enabling all these amazing new use cases. So in particular, the Oasis blockchain platform is actually very unique. It's very different from all the other blockchain platforms out there today. And in particular, we have a new modern design architecture called Paradigm. And in particular, it has a number of advantages, and one is for scaling. So what the Paradigm architecture is that we separate with execution from consensus. So one reason today's most of the blockchain platform has this bottleneck is that a blockchain oftentimes need to enable three functions: consensus, compute, execute smart contracts, for example, and the storage. But oftentimes, so most of today's blockchain platform, they combine all these three functions together, and each node needs to perform all the three functions, and hence it's actually very easy to create bottlenecks. Whereas with the Oasis platform, we actually separate these different functions. In particular, we separate compute from consensus. So we have the consensus layer. In this case, we do proof of stake that has high throughput based on sentiment. And on top, we have this compute layer that we call paratime layer. And the separation gives us a number of actually advantages, where we can, at the paratime layer, we can in parallel have many different paratime committees, where each paratime committee can do its own compute for its own workloads, very much like a sub-network. And also it's fully decentralized. Any developer can register a paratime at any time. And also it's very versatile. So different paratime, they can actually, for example, they can run different paratime engines. We provide an EVM, that's an EVM compatible paratime engine that the paratime committee can run. And also we actually have one of our partners that actually provides an EVM compatible paratime engine as well. And also some of the paratime committee nodes can use secure hardware and hence can enable what's called the confidential smart contracts. And also this architecture really enables a seamless combination of permissions and permissionless workload as well. For example, some of the paratime committee nodes, they can be specified by some enterprise to run enterprise-specific workloads, while other paratime committee can be fully publicly chosen nodes as well. And also, we use a new mechanism for based on verifiable computing to link the paratime layer and consensus layer to ensure security. And then in this case, we actually can be more efficient than sharding and parachains. For the same level of security, we require smaller replication factor than sharding and parachain with this new type of parallel execution architecture. And also, as I mentioned, we support confidential paratimes. So essentially, you can run this confidential smart contracts in secure hardware to protect the computation process from leaking sensitive information. And we can also combine other secure computing technologies as well. And overall, with the Oasis Network, with its unique capabilities, as I mentioned, it can really enable these amazing new applications. And we have a really vibrant Oasis Network ecosystem with over 500 node operators who have already participated in the Oasis Network. And we also have the largest university programs and working with us as well, and so on. And also, I just wanted to mention our key milestone. We actually will be launching our mainnet very, very soon. Targeted for early Q3. So really looking forward for the mainnet launch. And again, Oasis is the first privacy-enabled blockchain platform for open finance and a responsible data economy. So thank you, everyone. Because I had to show my screen, like my slides full screen, so I actually couldn't see the questions that were sent earlier. And I know that we are running out of time a little bit. I do want to actually take the time.
You're welcome. Please feel free. Take a few more minutes. Scroll through. You're more than welcome to go over. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I would have really loved to, interact with people during my talk.
Of course.
But, but because I'm sharing my slides the whole full screen, so I actually couldn't see.
Well, you're welcome to take as many. You can take another 5-10 minutes as long as you'd like, and just kind of scroll through. The floor is yours.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for all these great comments and so on. So let me just scroll through to see what are the questions. Right, thanks, everyone. I also see some comments talking about one of the best things about Oasis is that they will help users. Yeah, thanks a lot for that comment. Yeah, we have been working really hard for this. Oh, and also, okay, so here's a question. Tokenized data, are you going to be part of the TTI, the Token Taxonomy Initiative? That's a good question. We'll definitely look into that. So I think tokenization of data is a huge, huge topic, and we are really just at the beginning. So that's why I showed some of this data and this statistics in my talk earlier. Is that how big the data economy is, like compared to the financial industry, which is already really big. That's what we are seeing, just at the beginning with DeFi and so on. But the data economy is even orders of magnitude bigger, and data assets, of course, is hugely valuable. And we really need to build the infrastructure for us to be able to, again, maintain rights to these data assets and also be able to gain value out of that. So here's a question: what would be one of the first real-world use cases on Oasis? So as I mentioned in my talk, so there are a few use cases that we have already been working on, and some of them we actually have been working on for quite some time already. So like the genomic data use case to help users to maintain rights and maintain control to your genomic data, and also at the same time to enable your data to be utilized in a privacy-preserving way. And also gain benefit from that. And also the Binance partnership that I mentioned with this CryptoSafe Alliance is another great use case. Right, so let me see. Yeah, there are so many questions. That's great. And again, thanks a lot for these comments. Yes, crypto frauds and that they are some of the biggest threats for crypto in general. Yeah, thanks for the comments. So we are really excited to help in that space as well. Okay, also another comment people mentioned here is someone mentions that you can see Oasis as a huge player rewarding participation in scientific research. So that's a great, it's a great comment. Thanks a lot, and that's a great point. So one thing I mentioned about this data trust, I didn't get the chance to talk more in detail about that. So of course, one can create many different types of data trusts. So in particular, for example, today, everybody's working really hard in fighting COVID. But as we all know, actually, one of the most important things for fighting COVID, besides wearing masks and so on, and do social distancing and so on, one of the most important things is data. We need the data to know how to do contact tracing, hence who to quarantine, who are at risk, and we need data to better develop cures for patients, better allocation of hospital resources, and so on. But today the issue is that it's really difficult to actually get this data because it's also very sensitive. And also for a lot of patients from COVID, they do want to share their data, but it's actually really not easy. So this is just one of the examples, like for the scientific research. So one of the goals for this data trust, again, as I mentioned, there can be many different types of data trust, but one can imagine to build a data trust that is actually for scientific research. So as I mentioned, different users can stake your data to create this data pool as a data trust, and then also so this data trust can have its own governance. So for example, as users contribute your data to this data pool, this data trust, you can say that you can either get governance tokens, or you can say you want to join a data trust which is meant for supporting scientific research and while protecting users' privacy, where this pool of data can only be used for scientific research. And then as data consumers, for example, medical researchers, they can then use the data in this data trust. And also our tech platform can help ensure that the privacy protection and the data use policy is being enforced. And also these as data is being used, if it even creates some benefits, then this whole data trust also can gain benefits, and then the participants of this data trust can then even decide how to use the proceeds better. For example, use the proceeds to fund more scientific research, to encourage more scientific research, to use the data more better, and so on. So these are all great examples with for how this type of new data trust and this data tokenizations and data assets can actually really enable, and so on. And here's another comment. So I think someone mentioned that you are a physician and very interested in translating the power of this trustlessness to patient care and insurance payments. And so, yes, I think, right, again, with the genomic data is just one example. And in particular with genomic data, it's very structured, and of course, it's really privacy sensitive and so on. It's a great, first step. We actually also have been working with some of the biggest healthcare providers in the US to actually help them to better and more securely share medical data for users with other clinics and so on, to make it easier for users to get better care with this secure and controlled data sharing and so on. And again, right, thanks a lot for, yes. So yeah, thanks a lot for all the great questions and so on. So I know we are running a little late, but thank you so much for all the great enthusiasm, the great support, all the great positive feedback. We are really just at the very beginning of this revolution. Again, as we see, so today, DeFi is one thing, building scalable and private DeFi. It's one step it's one part of the journey. But I think really the world is even bigger than just DeFi. This building a responsible data economy, where how we can create these data assets, how we can help users to maintain control and maintain rights to their data, and also really help users to gain the benefits and to change today's paradigm, where users are now getting sufficient benefits from their data, and users' data privacy is now being properly protected. So thanks everyone for your great encouragement and for your great support. I think it's a community effort. We really look forward to have you also join our efforts. We also earlier launched a summit called the Responsible Data Summit. If you just go to responsibledata.ai, you can also see some of the talks there as well. Very much focused on how we can develop the next generation technologies to enable this responsible data economy. And again, thanks everyone, and we'll be launching our mainnet very, very soon. And please go to, for more information, please go check out Oasis Foundation, oasisprotocol.org, and yeah, looking forward to have you joining this revolution. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everything. Thank you for answering the questions at the end there.
Right, yeah. Yeah, sorry, there are so many questions that sometimes it's hard to scroll and to find everything.
Perfect. Appreciate it.
Thanks everyone. And also, please feel free to reach out to me in a personalized way if you have more questions. I'm very happy to help address questions offline as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Always a pleasure to hear you and see you.
Great. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thank you.